Alright, you guys, the right fits. We are back here, and it is now the 15th. I got the date wrong yesterday because, sometimes I'm rather retarded up here. But the right fits, we're back here. We're talking about the Trump assassination yesterday and just everything it means in our country. How kind of crazy of a time we're getting into. More polarized than ever. It really seems like we might have some issues at home we really got to take care of. Obviously, if someone's shooting at probably the next president, major unrest in this country. And now I want to take a little look at some foreign policy issues that are going on. You guys know I like my foreign policy, am I right? So Israel, I want to talk about Israel real quick. Russia too. As the Ukrainian war and Russian war have gone on, the Ukrainian versus the Russians, right? We've allowed Ukraine to use our weapons to go farther and farther into Russian territory, and now we're allowing them to use, I forget the name of the missiles. I forgot the name of the missiles, but they hit civilians. We're now allowing them to use some of our weapons, and now we're sending F-16s over there. And if we're letting them bomb in Russia, I mean, shit can get just out of control really quick. And they hold us accountable because it's our weaponry, our satellite system, our targeting, our fueling system in the air, our air supremacy is where they're getting it from. So it's pretty much we're at war with Russia. Essentially, that's how they look at it, especially, which is important in a war to look at it from their perspective, right? But in Israel, the other thing I wanted to comment on is Israel, they essentially, it's reported on even Israeli news, and it was suspected earlier that, and I didn't report on it because it wasn't sure if this happened, but now we're pretty sure that we know actually that Israel on October 7th used the Hannibal Directive, which means shooting up instead of letting people being take captive their soldiers, their civilians in Israel. They said, let's just kill everybody instead. And so a lot of the 900 civilians that died on that day, it's because Israel, in fact, decided to open fire on their own people on purpose, which I think they're the only country on earth that has that directive, the Hannibal Directive, that's what it's called. But it's just crazy times we're looking at it from the perspective of America supporting Ukraine, supporting Israel, right, in both of these wars. Ukraine's on the defense, you might say. They are, because Russia's going into Ukrainian land, right? They're not going into Russian land. But that's how they're retaliating now, going into Russia and bombing them, which it's not going to help them in their long run, which is sad for Ukraine. That's the saddest part about the whole Ukrainian war, is we're using them as our foot soldiers, essentially, right? Because if we're at war with them, we're supporting Ukraine, we're telling Zelensky not to make a deal with Putin, and we're the ones supplying him with weapons, and that means we're essentially his backers. He's subservient to us, right? So it's sad because this war would have ended without us, without our support. But we have to push the lines like we did in Ukraine in 2014 when we overthrew their government through a CIA-backed coup, and then up till now, where we're sending all our tax dollars not only to Ukraine but to Israel to, just make that place devastating. And a new report's come out from the Lancet, the oldest British medical journal, and it's said up to 186,000 people, not 37, the previous estimate, people have died. 186,000, which is like 10% of the population has died in Gaza. So we are entering legit genocide numbers, regardless of, people have said they haven't killed enough to make it a genocide. But now, they are getting into that, regardless of if you back Israel. So, we're supporting that with our tax dollars. We're supporting Israel killing their own people with our tax dollars, right? and we're supporting their offensive war into Muslim countries, right? Muslim territories. So, you know, as an American, I'd rather see those tax dollars go to here. And I think if we pulled our money out of those countries, it would support peace, more peace in both of those places. And so it's a sad fact that we're sending our money over there to essentially continue military operations, continue more death, continue the absence of diplomacy between countries, which is what we're famous for. We're not diplomatic people. When you believe you are the sole superpower and meant to be the sole superpower, your diplomatic skills are poor. So we're faced with this, and you know, we're closer to nuclear war. This is the biggest thing, honestly. This is by far the most important thing on Earth, right, that has ever existed in humankind, is stopping nuclear war. And we're closer now, a lot of people think, than even during the Cuban Missile Crisis. And I really agree with that, because Putin is put into a place where if he has to, you know, fear for his life, then he will use nuclear weapons, you know. And so, you know, we should take that into consideration and let a couple territories in eastern Ukraine go to Russia and sue for peace, and let them have Crimea. But instead, we need to continue our militarism with our tax dollars, so we can't build the Hawaiians' house back. We can't help the hurricane victims, right? We can't help wildfire victims. Instead, we send our money to foreign countries. And so this is a little bit just a review on the foreign state of affairs. Alright, you guys, comment below, subscribe, share with everybody. Thanks.